Jikook lovers, pause for a moment. There's a tiny detail that was never meant to be seen, yet it appeared at the most unexpected time. Not his smile, not his gaze, his tattoo. Why is Jimin's tattoo visible again right now? Why does it appear in a moment that feels so warm, so intimate? Is this just a coincidence? Or a silent signal, deliberately left for fans to interpret on their own? And the biggest question of all, is this really without meaning? Jikook lovers, have you ever felt that a single second could carry more weight than 1,000 words? Because in that brief, almost unnoticeable moment, something small appeared again, quietly, without announcement, without explanation. It wasn't a song. It wasn't a stage performance. It wasn't even a deliberate camera focus. It was the tattoo. At first, not everyone noticed it. Some thought it was just a shadow, a trick of the lighting, or a blur caused by camera movement. But the more the clip was replayed, paused, zoomed in, the clearer it became. Jimin's tattoo was visible again. And just like every time before, it didn't appear during a grand, planned moment. It surfaced during something far more intimate, something warm. And that's where the questions began. Why does it always appear like this? Why does it never fully reveal itself, yet never completely disappear? The reaction was immediate but quiet at first. Then the fandom stirred. Timelines started moving fast. Comments multiplied. And one question echoed repeatedly in countless forms. Why now? What made this moment different wasn't just the tattoo itself, but Jimin's expression. There was no dramatic gesture, no visible attempt to draw attention. But that was exactly what felt unsettling. His gaze was soft, his movements calm, almost as if he knew that detail was visible and chose to do nothing about it. Was that intentional? Or was it simply acceptance? Jimin has never been careless with symbolism. For years, fans have known him as someone who places meaning into the smallest things, gestures, colors, silence. So it's no surprise that a single tattoo can spark endless interpretation, especially when it appears only at certain times, as if waiting for a specific moment to surface. This time, that moment arrived quietly. Some fans immediately went back in time. When was the first time this tattoo was noticed? What was happening in Jimin's life back then? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all, who was around him when it appeared? These questions didn't come out of nowhere. Because every time this tattoo becomes visible, the atmosphere feels different. Not loud, not chaotic, but intimate, calm, almost fragile. It's as if the tattoo doesn't belong to the stage Jimin, but to the private space he allows only rarely. And once again, that space opened just for a second. Some say it's coincidence. Others argue fans are reading too much into it. But there are also those who believe that when coincidences repeat themselves, they begin to form a pattern. Especially when the tattoo appears without hesitation, without an attempt to cover it, without surprise, almost as if its appearance was expected, or at least accepted. Did Jimin want fans to notice it? Or did he simply allow them to interpret it freely? What deepened the mystery even further was what came after. No clarification, no explanation, no denial. Life continued as normal, while fans were left holding unanswered questions. And that silence, more than anything, made the moment heavier. Because when something that's usually hidden suddenly appears and is left unexplained, its meaning often becomes stronger than any official statement. For some people, tattoos are art. For others, they are memories. And for Jimin, no one truly knows. But one thing is hard to deny. Every time this tattoo appears, the mood changes. The moment feels more honest, more human, more connected to the Jimin who exists off stage, inside himself. Could it be tied to his past, to personal growth, to a chapter he hasn't spoken about, or to someone who holds a quiet place in his life? After that moment passed, nothing else seemed out of place. The schedule continued, the footage ended, the world moved on. But for fans, it didn't. Because sometimes, what lingers isn't what was said or done, but what quietly appeared and was never explained. Jimin's tattoo did exactly that. It stayed behind in people's minds, replayed again and again, frozen in screenshots, slowed down frame by frame, discussed in whispers that slowly grew louder. What makes this tattoo so different is not its design, but its timing. Jimin has existed in the public eye for years. His movements are watched, analyzed, admired. Every stage outfit, every hairstyle change, every gesture is noticed almost instantly. And yet, this tattoo never behaves like a spotlight detail. It doesn't arrive with intention that feels performative. It doesn't announce itself. It slips into view quietly, almost shyly, as if it was never meant to become the center of attention. Yet inevitably does. This latest moment followed that same pattern. It appeared when defenses were down, when the atmosphere was calm, when the energy wasn't loud but warm, and that alone made fans uneasy in the most emotional way possible. Why does the tattoo only seem to surface during moments that feel real? Not polished, not dramatic, not staged, but human. Many fans began to notice something else as they rewatched the footage. Jimin didn't react. There was no instinctive movement to cover it, no sudden adjustment of clothing, no visible awareness that anything unexpected had happened. Instead, there was ease, comfort, as if the tattoo belonged there just as much as his expression in that moment. That detail changed everything. Because if something truly feels accidental, people usually react. They correct it, they hide it, they fix it. But Jimin did none of that. He remained exactly as he was, soft, present, unbothered. That raised a new question. What if this wasn't accidental at all? What if the mystery doesn't lie in the tattoo itself, but in Jimin's relationship with it? Fans started drawing connections, not conclusions, but patterns. Each time the tattoo appeared in the past, it aligned with moments where Jimin seemed emotionally open, not necessarily vulnerable in a dramatic way, but honest, grounded, at peace with where he was, even if that place was quiet and internal. And that's why this latest appearance hit differently. Because it didn't feel like a reveal. It felt like permission. Permission to see a part of Jimin that isn't explained through interviews or lyrics or official statements. A part that exists without context, without translation, without confirmation. Just presence. Some fans described a sense of warmth. Others admitted they felt unsettled. Not because something bad had happened, but because the moment felt too personal to witness. Almost like overhearing a thought that wasn't meant to be spoken out loud. That emotional split became a conversation of its own. Is it okay to analyze something so personal? Or is the act of noticing already crossing a line? Yet the questions continued, because Jimin exists in a space where personal and public constantly overlap. And tattoos, by nature, live at that intersection. They are permanent, intentional, and deeply individual. They are rarely meaningless. But meaning doesn't always need to be shared. That silence, from Jimin and from official sources, only deepened the emotional weight of the moment. No clarification arrived to ground the conversation. No explanation came to close the loop. Fans were left with only what they had seen and what they felt. And feelings, when unanchored, tend to grow. Some wondered if the tattoo represents a memory. Others believed it might symbolize a phase of his life he has moved through quietly. There were even those who suggested it reflects growth, an internal marker of change rather than a message meant for the world. None of these interpretations can be proven, and perhaps that's the point, because the power of this moment doesn't come from answers, it comes from restraint. Jimin didn't explain. He didn't hide. He didn't emphasize. He simply existed with the tattoo visible, allowing the moment to be exactly what it was. And in a world driven by constant explanation and exposure, that choice feels significant. What fans responded to wasn't curiosity alone, it was respect. A collective pause, a shared understanding that some things don't need to be solved to be meaningful. That mystery itself can be a form of connection. Still, the biggest question remains. Why now? Why did this tattoo reappear in this specific moment after being absent for so long? Why during a time that feels emotionally gentle rather than intense? Why when Jimin seemed most like himself, rather than performing a version of himself? The absence of answers doesn't weaken the moment. It strengthens it, because meaning doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, waits to be noticed, and then leaves without explanation, trusting that those who felt it will carry it forward. And that's exactly what happened here. The tattoo appeared, the moment passed, and the feeling stayed. Fans may continue to speculate. Discussions will evolve. Interpretations will shift. But one thing is already clear, this wasn't just about a tattoo. It was about timing, about presence, about the choice to let something personal be seen without defining it. And maybe that's why this moment feels so powerful.